Good morning. We're recording the shows today and tomorrow because we are expecting a huge fuck you from Mother Nature in my area. And God only knows what it's going to do to the internet or the power or whatever. I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. So we're going to record two shows today, and this is the first one. And of course, it is about what is concerning everybody right now is this new healthcare repeal, replace, whatever you want to call it. Bottom line is everybody is split. Everybody has a side. And the side that I'm on is, of course, the side that, as a self-insured person, because we don't belong to any group, my husband is self-employed, as you know, we have to buy our own health insurance. And when we used to have to buy our own health insurance, which we've had to do for the past 20 years, we were able to pick and choose because we weren't part of a group. So because I was on birth control and I knew I was never going to have a child, we chose not to have maternity care on our health policy. We chose not to have pediatric care or pediatric dental care on our policy because we have no children. And we were able to do that until Obamacare. And this is part of why I'm saying we are divided. There is one side of the aisle that says, and I'm not talking Republicans, Democrats, although it is mostly Democrats, who believe that even though my husband and I are self-employed and self-insured, that for some reason we should still be paying for an insurance policy that includes maternity care, even though I am now in menopause and it is impossible for me to get pregnant, and pediatric dental care, so that somebody else who has the same policy we have and pays less for it can have those things. And my friends, for those of you who say we are afraid this is socialism, this is socialism. That right there is socialism. Giving everybody health care as a right of being an American citizen, that is not socialism. That's government health care. That is Social Security, only it's for health insurance and health care. And the day you're born, you get a little card because you're an American citizen and you have health care. That is cool. But this quasi-socialism thing that we've been playing with for 50 years, ever since welfare and Medicaid and food stamps came out, believe me, those things are socialism. When they take money from me without my consent and give it to people who have not earned it so that they can get free health care, that's socialism, my friends. That is socialized medicine. The only problem is all of us aren't getting to take advantage of it. Those of us who actually have good jobs and have worked hard or gone to college and have good jobs, because it's based on how much money you make. Not on how much money you're going to cost the health insurance industry, but how much money you earn before taxes. They don't even include your taxes or your expenses. They don't give a shit what your mortgage is. Because, if you make really good money, you would think you deserve a nice house. But if you're paying for a nice house, you probably don't want to pay $1,500 a month for health insurance you can't use because the deductible is $7,500 a year. But see, they don't look at that. They look at, well, if you make X amount of dollars before taxes and before what you have to pay to live the life you have worked to earn to live, we think you can afford to pay for other people to have maternity care and pediatric dentist care like you're in a group. Problem is, I'm not in a group. I am self-insured. And just by the very definition that I am purchasing my own health insurance, I should be able to decide what I am paying for, you would think. And I think that's what the new plan, and I don't even want to call it the T word. I'm going to call it the Ryan plan, because I actually trust Paul Ryan more than I trust not my President Trump. But when he did his PowerPoint presentation, it made sense. Because there is a real issue, and this is one thing Donald Trump has always gotten right. is most of us right now, people like my husband and me, we have an insurance card we cannot use. And like I said 2 weeks ago, Obamacare made it, okay, I can afford to be diagnosed with an illness, but I can't afford to treat it. Because that's when that huge deductible comes in. And it's happened to us, it's happened to families. Arbitrarily, insurance companies, whether you filed a claim with them or not, they kick you off or they cancel your policy through no fault of your own, and they replace it with a policy that is double the cost, even though you didn't cost them any money. They just say, well, we're no longer offering this plan, but we have a replacement for you, and it's twice as expensive, and your deductible has gone up by $2,000 a year, which means it's twice as expensive, and now it's even more impossible that you will ever use it. Why would I purchase this product? And I didn't. I am not insured. And I'm proud to say that now, especially now when I'm hearing other people agreeing with me that why would you pay for a product? Look, they're talking about promises. Health insurance is a promise. All insurance is a promise that if you need us, we'll be there. But health insurance breaks their promises every time they deny a claim. And they spend more time denying claims than they do paying medical bills. And that's a fact. That is a fact. Now, on the other side of this argument is, oh my God, what's going to happen to the Medicaid people, the poor people? Oh my God, people can't afford to pay $3,000 for a health care policy, even if we give them a $3,000 tax credit. What kind of insurance? John Kasich said this from Ohio. He was a presidential candidate, if you remember. He said, could you afford $3,000 for health insurance? What kind of insurance will that be? Mr. Kasich, guess what? This is what my husband and I are being asked to pay. We're being asked to pay $15,000 a year with a $7,500 each deductible. And John Kasich's like, well, what kind of insurance can you get for that? I'm going to tell you, Mr. Kasich, shit insurance. And my husband and I work for a living. We have JOBs. Perhaps you should tell your fellow Ohioans who are asking themselves, oh, mon Dieu, where are we going to get the free shit? There ain't no free shit. This is America. You're supposed to work for what you get. Nobody, as my friend, a viewer, Shari, says, you are not entitled to a damn thing. You want something, you get a job, you get an education, then you get a job, and you work for it. You don't expect your neighbors or your nanny government to give it to you. And put your thumbs away, all you people, oh, I lost my job and I got sick. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to career, welfare, food stamp people. 40 million people in this country are experiencing living in a socialist America. Because they get free health care, they get free food, some of them get free housing, and they get a check from the government for every kid they have. Not to mention the 40 million Americans who pay no federal income tax and no state income tax. Can you imagine? You're living in the most wonderful country in the world and you're not paying one dime to contribute to the running of this government. You know what? If nobody is too poor to pay taxes. This is why I think we should get rid of income tax, and we definitely need to get rid of income tax refunds. Because if you're too poor to pay taxes, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you're too poor to pay taxes in this country, then guess what? You have no right to use the roads that my taxes pay for. You have no right to send your children to the schools that my taxes pay for. But this is what I think we should do, and I've always thought this. You put a federal sales tax on every product that is sold in every store in America, and you raise the state sales tax because everybody buys stuff. Poor people buy stuff, illegal immigrants buy stuff, and rich people buy stuff. And you know, that makes it fair because the rich people who pay accountants to find all the loopholes so they can pay less taxes than they should, they don't pay their fair share. They will pay more tax. They will pay fair share because they buy the expensive shit. They're going to pay it through their sales tax. And the poor people who are too poor to pay taxes will buy less stuff, but they will at least contribute to the things that they use, like the public schools, like the roads, which we all use. We should all pay for the roads. But we for sure can't say you're too poor to pay for roads you use. You're too poor to pay for something you use. And nobody in this country is too poor to pay their share toward medical bills because medical care is expensive. And it should not be free. As generous and as heartwarming as we want to be and say, well, we can't deny a sick person care. You deny me care. Because like I said, I can afford to go get the free pap smear, but I can't afford to treat the cervical cancer. Because I'm going to have to be spending $7,500 every year out of my pocket to treat it. That's going to hurt me financially. It's going to ruin my quality of life by a lot. So let's remember that when we talk about, oh my God, we don't want to become a socialist country. We already are one. The problem is we're not a socialist country for everybody. We're more like a communist country. They take from people who work and give to people who refuse to work. And please put your thumbs away. I mean able-bodied individuals who are able to get out of their beds in the morning and get in a car and go to a job. And if you're able to do that and you don't, and you're collecting money from the government, my money, shame on you. And you have no right to send your kids to schools that you don't pay for, or to use roads that you don't pay for, or bus systems that you don't pay for, or even call the police that you don't pay for. I'm sorry, that is how I feel, because this healthcare thing is just the tip of the iceberg. 40 million Americans, and I've already done a show blaming the employers who don't pay a living wage, and that's another issue. We have to have a real living wage being paid to anyone who does get up and go to work every day, because good for you, and you should be able to support yourself and your family on one job with one employer. And that employer should be providing you with health insurance for you and your family. So put your thumbs away. I know there are a lot of working people out there who are on food stamps because their employer refuses to pay them a living wage, and that's wrong. That is very wrong. If you go out and work a full-time job and you can't afford food for your table, that's your employer's fault, and it's wrong. So there, don't yell at me for that. And of course, we have the other issue, the pharmaceutical industry, the pharmaceutical costs. And Michael Moore, whatever you think of Michael Moore, he did a documentary on this where he took 9/11 first responders who were very ill and needed prescription medications to Cuba, where they were welcomed with open arms. And the one woman needed an inhaler that in America, she was being charged $250 a month for. In Cuba, the very same inhaler made by the very same pharmaceutical company was 50 cents. Get the video. I think it's called Sick in America or Sicker. It's a really good DVD. It's worth watching. 50 cents in Cuba, $250 in America for an inhaler. How about that? The woman started crying. First responder, 9/11. Lung issues because of 9/11. And they're charging her $250 for her inhaler. We already talked about the EpiPen issue. The EpiPens are so expensive, and they save people's lives. Cancer treatment, at least $3,000 a month for cancer drugs. I'm shaking my head. So we have to decide why Americans are being targeted to pay so much. And it goes back to this thing, you can afford it. You can afford it because you're an American and because you have a job. And you make this much money before taxes. Yeah, we don't give a fuck if because you're on a medication you have to sell your house or you have to forfeit and lose your house to foreclosure. We don't care about what you spend a month on car payments. We don't care. If you get sick, you get to spend every last dime that you have to get well. And then when you get well, you don't have a house to live in. You don't have a car to drive. You've probably lost your job because you've been out sick. And we all know because of last week's show what disability pays. Basically shit. You get disabled through no fault of your own in this country, you might as well just move into the poorhouse willingly, because you'll be there in a couple of years trying to live off disability in this country, in America. While you've got these entitled teenagers and young people making $10 an hour buying $400,000 homes. And we're going to talk about that on tomorrow's show. Entitlements. And what is a true entitlement and what isn't. I'd like to talk to my British friends right now for a minute because I hear from a lot of you the opposite of what I hear from the scaremongers here in America. Oh, we don't want the British system of national health care. We'll die. And most of my British friends actually love their national health care. It saved their lives and saved their financial lives for sure. But I don't know anything about your British prescription plan. So, Linda, I know you're from England. You live in England. Anybody, Pat, in England, let me know. I'm going to make sure I share this video with you because I'm talking to you specifically. Let me know how British prescription plans work, if it's part of your national health care, and if the costs for prescriptions are as high in England as they are in the States, because they're really high. And they don't need to be. And again, it's just like when I say the doctors in France, when they're at national health care, the doctors have a salary. They are not unlimited. They don't make millions of dollars a year. They don't charge $500,000 for one surgery. They get maybe $300,000 a year. And they are able to live very nicely on that. You tell an American doctor they have to live on $300,000 a year, and they're going to quit their jobs. They won't work. Why do you think so many American doctors are refusing Medicare patients? Medicare! That's elderly people. Because they don't get paid enough. It's not worth the time it takes to treat an elderly person on Medicare. Because they won't make what they believe they are entitled to. Yeah, so much for first do no harm, and it's the most noblest of professions, being a physician. They want to heal people. Bullshit. They want country club memberships, 12-bedroom mansions, vacation homes, ski homes. You know, you're a doctor, you don't belong to a country club. Oh my God. People are going to talk at the next AMA meeting. American Medical Association, in case you didn't know. Not all doctors. There are wonderful doctors out there that will give care to people who need it, who will volunteer their services. But unfortunately, too many doctors, and especially surgeons, have this arrogance that they should be above everyone else and live above everyone else. I always say this, I don't have one doctor living in my neighborhood, in the city. Got a couple lawyers living in my neighborhood, and they're proud to do so. Now, when I was little, my grandmother's doctor lived above his office. And he charged my grandmother $50 for an office visit, and he made house calls. My grandmother didn't need health insurance. She just paid him. She just gave him 2 20s and a 10. That was the old school. That was the good way. That was real doctors. Now all they care about is how many patients they can see in a day, how many billable hours they get, and how much they can get from the insurance company. Which is why a lot of them are balking from Obamacare, because they're not getting paid what they think they are entitled to, because they have MD or DO next to their name. So with this healthcare plan, look, I don't know enough about it to completely be on board with it, but I do know that just by getting rid of the mandate, they just saved me $600, because I will not be paying a penalty for refusing to purchase a product I won't use. And I like the fact that I may finally, as a self-insured person, be able to choose the kind of plan that I want. And that makes a big difference. I don't see the point of paying for things like maternity care and pediatric dental care, considering that I am in menopause and I have no children and I don't go to pediatric dentists. My dentist is an adult dentist. He treats adults. I just think I shouldn't be paying for that. I really shouldn't. So, comments are always welcome. I hope you guys like this show. I know we're going to be talking about this a lot in the next probably year at least, till they can get this thing figured out. The Democrats hate it because the Democrats like giving the baby away with the bathwater. They like giving everything but the kitchen sink to some people who refuse to work, refuse to pay taxes, refuse to be contributing members of our society. The Democrats even want to give this shit away to illegal immigrants. And that isn't cool. And the Republicans are more for, you want something, you go out and you earn it. You don't run to the nanny government to get it done. And that's one of the things I like about the Conservative Party. Because that's how I was raised. If you want something, you earn it. And we're going to talk about that more tomorrow, on tomorrow's show. So, for those of you in the Northeast, and the Mid-Atlantic, and the Carolinas, and all up and down the East Coast, please be safe. We are expecting a hell of a March snowstorm. And March snowstorms, I am very familiar, can be the worst. So do not go out if you don't have to. Don't let your boss try to threaten you or force you to go in. It's not worth your life. It's not worth having car repairs. It's not worth it. Just button down, stay home, enjoy a day off with the kids, whatever. The kids aren't going to have school probably for 2 days. So, which will extend my summer by just a little bit because the kids won't be at the bay for an extra couple days. Yay. So anyway, be very cautious, my friends out there. And like I said, I'm recording because tomorrow I have a feeling I'm going to be shoveling snow. So much fun. Gosh, I hope I don't need to go to the ER because I wrenched my back or something. Oh, wait, I can. I can go anywhere I want and pay cash because I don't have health insurance. I don't have to ask permission first or worry about deductibles or anything. I just pay them cash. Hey, how much will you give me for paying cash? I bet I get a discount. But I hope I don't have to. So, have a great day, everybody. Love shows and grows, and believe me, there is no hate on this program. But it is time that we stop worrying so much about people who want free shit and start worrying about those of us who have really worked hard for decades to get where we are and don't feel it is right for anyone to force us to pay more than our fair share for what should be a right for everyone, which is healthcare. So, stay informed, stay safe, be good to one another. Love shows and grows. Political Paula, out.